Good morning. Welcome to Investigator News. I'm Ellie and I'm your host, and this is our weather report. Uh, boy, happy Friday. Now, is everybody ready for the hot weekend and storms? Hot for some of us and storms for some. Uh, Let me get over to the weather. As you could see, I was talking yesterday, and so was our weather lady, of the storms that's going to hit the East Coast. And some of them are torcons. And a torcon is possible tornadoes and the strength of the tornadoes. Now they're talking about a 3. And when we have a torcon 3 here, you get strong winds, you get wind gusts, you get hail, and sometimes the hail is up to an inch. And also, what you see is wind gusts that can go 50, 60 miles an hour. So beware on the East Coast today. Maybe Susan and Karen will get some of that and they'll let us know how bad it was. So, with that, I'm going to get on to our beautiful weather lady. And I sure appreciate the Weather Channel for letting us use their weather without no copyrights. So here we go.
Well, here's a look at your national forecast as we go into the weekend. And Friday, we have storms along the eastern seaboard. Now, some of these could be severe. We're talking the possibility of damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes. But heavy rain is also going to be in the forecast, so we're going to watch for that flooding. Now, on Saturday, much of the eastern seaboard clears out, with the exception of northern New England, interior Northeast, and then you can see down through Florida. Now, out to the west, we are going to have some cooler air sneaking in. So this trough is going to bring in cooler air to the west, but it does heat up the east and the south. So temperatures very summer-like, not only Sunday, but into Monday. Take a look at these temperatures. We have 90s stretching all the way up into the Tennessee and Ohio valleys and also into the Great Lakes. Detroit, 90 degrees for your high on Memorial Day with partly sunny skies.
So, what are your Memorial Day plans? Maybe watching seagulls. Go to the beach and stare at the seagulls. I got a report on that a little later. Um, Creepy. I don't know. I'd like to know who these people are that do these tests um, of watching seagulls. There's other things that our government wastes their money on, but I grabbed one up this morning and I thought it was kind of weird, kind of creepy. But it gives you something to do besides burying your feet in the sand or the sand castle. Yeah, seagull watching. So on with the with I want to get into um, our earthquake report. All right, so we had a 6.2 in Timor-Leste, Las Palos, and which is wow. We're starting to see some bigger earthquakes as we go. Um, all right, so let me get you guys over here to show you what we got going on. Now they said the bigger one was over here. Um, we have a 6.4 in the southeast of Loyalty Islands. It's bigger than that 6.2. Then we had the one I just told you about, a 6.2. Then we have another one down here, a 6.2 on the Pacific Rise. Now, if you haven't watched me before and what I've learned from Dutch since they go up, uh, so does this mean that with the 7.2 we had, does it mean they might be going down? It's a good possibility. They just recently hit me with a earthquake of a 3.5 in Perryville, Alaska. That's the newest one. Now, over I call on the Bird's Head. That's a 5.1 South Sandwich Islands region. Now, so far, I haven't seen nothing up around Greenland. Now, there is one over uh, in Kyrgyzstan in Tyrup, and that was a 4.1. Now, over in Japan, uh, oh boy, Isho Makai, Japan. I know I said that one wrong. I bet people that watch me in these other countries just get a kick out of me. They're like, where did this Southern woman come from? Believe it or not, I'm not Southern. I'm from California. I just spent too much time in the South. All right, so Japan, they got a 4.7. Now we have a cluster up around Alaska, and that's where the newest one had hit. We have one of a 4.0 in False Pass, of 3.7, um, a 2.5, and 2.6. Now I've been asked if it with it clustered together, did people start feeling it? I believe they do. I know their animals do. They start getting really antsy. And that was that. If you hadn't seen it, go back to one of the first shows I've done this week, and it'll tell you about animals and how they feel these earthquakes. And when there's a cluster like this, I'm pretty sure. Now you're saying, when I went through that 7.2 earthquake, it was a 7.0, and I was like keeping an eye on the tremors to see what I could feel. And I could feel them down to right about a 4.0. But I did feel like something was happening with a 3. I don't know if it was just me waiting and knowing that there was an earthquake and seeing if I could feel it, or if I was actually feeling it. But at a 5, you can definitely see things moving around. If you have hanging plants, you'll see them moving. They'll sway back and forth, or anything hanging. So, or even, the chains on your ceiling fans or lights, you'll see them moving. Um, so, if you don't have nothing on and things start moving around, there's something up. Um, so let's see. Down in South America, in Santiago, Peru, a 5.5, and the rest of them are really starting to get very small, which means that it has moved. Now, when you have this wasn't very deep, this last earthquake, and so will it go across over to Australia? Yes, that's exactly what it did. It went over, and that's where we started seeing the 6.0s and above. So now everything is kind of spread out, and I talk about even spacing. And what we see is we start seeing them in between these bigger earthquakes. So I don't do earthquakes on Saturday, so it'd be Tuesday again. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the weekend. Um, so that pretty much covers a lot of it. Now, I know Karen likes to know what's going on in Hawaii, a 2.8. Now, get this. If um, you get an earthquake over a 2.0 that is close to or in um, a volcano, it does cause a doming effect, and it does rise, and it does cause the magma to start bubbling. So if you see anything over a 2 point next to a volcano, that's what you're going to see. So anyway, we're going to move on with this, and let's get rid of that and bring up, let's see, um, scientists. Okay, scientists want to launch depictions and pictures of nude humans to aliens. Now, I seen that and I said, why the heck do they want to do that? So, scientists have studied the possibility of broadcasting a new message into our outer space. Now that they have been seeing, what they have seen is the tic tac and a triangle, including an image of a nude human figures, with hopes of reaching ET life. So the international team's work published in ARXIV, ARXIV, and waiting for peer review. It's called Beacon in the Galaxy, and it aims to send in transmission in binary code using radio waves towards the Milky Way galaxy. Now, why the Milky Way galaxy, I don't know. I'm thinking they might have been seeing something, picking up signals, but this is where they want to put it towards the Milky Way galaxy. The proposed message includes basic mathematical and physical concepts to establish a universal means of communication, followed by information on biochemical composition of life on Earth. So um, the solar system time stamped position in the Milky Way relative to known globular clusters, as well as digitized depictions of the solar system and Earth's surface. The message includes the digitized images of human naked form, along with an invitation for any receiving intelligences to respond. So, who wants to volunteer their nakedness? But how are they going to respond to naked pictures? I don't know. I really don't know. Kind of spooky, I think. And I want to know who they're going to use. Hopefully, someone really good looking, one of these models. But then, do is that going to cause aliens to think when they come to see us we're all naked? Many questions on this. And I got to thinking about it, and I thought, we had people that said aliens look through their windows or they show up at the end of their beds. Um, is that what got the why? What gave the scientists the idea that we need to send a naked picture of one of us into space? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out in the future. And if it works, I mean, what if these are active aliens and they come down just for the nakedness? Uh, we just don't know. And it really goes to show you that science works in weird ways and they come up with weird ideas. Do they always work? No. Are they always accurate? No. We learned that the other day when I was talking to William, and we found out that, scientists aren't always right. This may be a bad idea, ascending naked to aliens. Um, we don't know if they're hostile, if they're friendly. We know nothing about them. And I just, nope, no naked pictures in space. All right. um, the seagulls. Now, a lot of beachgoers, they get really mad at these pesky little seagulls from swiping their snacks. And so scientists, boy, here goes a scientist again. Apparently, staring at the birds might do the trick. According to the study published this last August, researchers attempted um, herring gulls in the coastal Cornwall with bags of fried French fries and tested how the birds behaved when they were watched and when they were ignored. Gulls became more cautious about inspecting food when placed under a human, and then they found out that they were also very more cautious if you stared at them. And not only that, but human surveillance. And many of the birds lost interest in the food altogether. And in contrast, when the team ignored the seagulls, the birds always picked and came back. So, so when you're at the beach this weekend for Memorial Day, stare at the gulls. Um, and we come to find out, I guess they like French fries. So if you have French fries, that could be why they're so interested in it. I watch a guy that does fishing, and I think he calls them Freds. Um, and when he ignores them, they go after his bait. When he stares at them, they run away. So maybe there is something to this. Maybe if you stare at the seagulls, they'll run away, or at least they won't get your French fries. And if you feed them, according to the scientists, they will stick around. But they said when you stare at them, they tend to not want to be very close, and they do tend to wander off and find another beachgoer that won't stare at them. Huh? So, boy, I tell you, oh boy, um, imperial penguins are at a risk at extinction. Um, so, what we're looking at is as we see everything warming up, and as the ice goes away, And they're saying that these penguins is a good possibility that with the sea ice in the Arctic from April through December, it would disrupt the penguins and their um, reproductive cycle. And that it increased tourism and fishing has impacted food sources for these penguins. Now, the imperial penguin's disappearance could also have a dramatic effect on the ecosystem, is what the scientists and researchers are saying. They also predict that the number of emperor penguins could decline at least 81% under this extreme circumstances that we are going through. Um, and so they're very they're watching them to see what happens. Now, I I talked about the polar bears the other day and saying that, when everything kind of melts and we went into a heating phase, that the polar bears stuck around and so did these penguins. So we really don't know how the heat is going to affect the wildlife here. I think we're just guessing at this point. If we were to look back a few hundred years, we would might see that these animals did survive. Um, and I when we get these politicians, we get the media that comes forward and they want to say, "Oh, we're going to kill these animals off with uh, this heat and this heat wave," and they call it climate. Um, but you know what? We haven't seen it. We have seen a record high heat in the past, and never once did they ever come forward and tell us we're killing off these animals. So we'll go with that. Now, let's see. Okay, I think it was one up here. I'll get to this last one here. Um, between um, July and September, they say is the most rainiest seasons in South India. And India seems to get some really odd weather. They're not sure if it's because where it is on the planet or if they're doing something with the high levels of pollution that's causing this. Now, in 2001, and again in the last, they say, 5 to 8 years, they have noticed this unusual weather phenomenon. And following a loud boom in the sky, and the rain comes down. It almost, they say, it looks like light. It sounds like thunder and lightning, but it's a thunder. However, this wasn't your typical rainstorm. It was raining blood, they claim. And there was also black and green and even yellow rain. Some have witnessed this odd weather phenomenon. And and that the trees in the region started to shed their leaves and turn gray. And they also looked very burned, like a chemical burn. Now, some of these events have been exaggerated by people that turn in their reports, and others, they have collected samples for um, scientists and researchers to find out what this raining blood, sometimes it even rains fish. But we're talking blood here. And what they found out is these are algae clouds. And they're claiming that because of the earthquakes, hurricanes, it sucks some of the ocean water up, or sometimes it sucks up lakes and ponds and rivers, and sometimes it'll suck up algae. And so this is what they're claiming that this mysterious uh, chemical is in our rain. It's actually a red, green, or a black algae. And so it could travel thousands of miles into the rain clouds. And then you'll see places like India get the red rain. So that's what this is. Um, uh, some people have even, here we go with the aliens, just don't send no naked pictures to aliens. Um, the aliens are doing this. Well, no, the scientists and researchers have done the testing on this, and they have been able to see the phenomenon as a lot of news people, and also all the cameras that we're seeing across our nations, um, that they're starting to see what they're talking about. And there's hardly any discoloration in the clouds. They're normally really dense black. Some are green. Now, I've seen green clouds here in the past, but it was with when we had severe weather. So they could, if you see a green cloud or a very, very black cloud, keep an eye out on it. But you don't want your dogs, they say this, do not let your pets drink this water, even cattle, because it can harm them and make them very sick. So, um, yeah, so this is this I'm learning a lot from looking into what the scientists are doing, and even doing the weather show, because I'm starting to look into phenomenons and the way animals act when they are exposed to some of these extreme conditions in our atmosphere, because it seems like it's changing. We see the cloud, some of the cloud formations aren't right. We see the poofies, like little balls in the clouds. We're starting to see, um, and it's not from chemtrails. We're just starting to see cloud formations that don't make any sense. And is it something that we're doing to the atmosphere? It could be. Now, according to history, and meteorologists have said that in the past we have had these phenomenons in the clouds, and that it's due to extreme climatic weather. Now, I'm not saying climate, none of that. It's climatic weather when it goes super high or super low. And also when the two clash together. So, with that, folks, that is it for our weather and earthquakes. Hurricanes, they're watching down, they're watching. And oh, wait a minute before I go. Someone had asked, how can I watch hurricanes? And where do they come from? Usually they come off the west coast of Africa, and they work their way straight into towards Florida. So if you want to pull up your weather map, or you have it on your phone or on your TV, uh, look over and keep an eye on Africa, because when it starts getting very active and it starts coming north, that's when we see them start spawning into these hurricanes. They're watching two little systems down. Uh, um, just south of Mexico and going into South America, that they have been watching very closely to see if anything transpires. But so far, nothing. Now, we're still a few days away from the first, and hurricane season starts June 1st. So hopefully we have last year was very light in hurricanes. This year it's not so bad. Or last year wasn't so bad, and now maybe this year it won't be as bad either. Uh, so with that, folks, we will have our news show. If you that's what you're thinking this is a new show we're doing in the mornings to keep our weather and light news, lifestyle news at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock Eastern time. So we will be back in 30 minutes with the news, and today will be corruption files. And I think you guys are going to be interested in this. So with that, I will see you in a few minutes. Have a wonderful morning. And if you don't catch the later show, you can always watch it later. So we will see you all in about 30 minutes. Bye bye, folks.